turn now. After this news came out from Pennsylvania today, Bill Cosby's camp put this out, saying, man, he put this news of Superior Court denying Mr. Cosby's appeal was appalling and disappointing, but it shows the level of corruption that resides in the judicial system of Pennsylvania. The panel of judges never took the time to review the clear facts of Mr. Cosby's appeal. Mr. Cosby's appeal outlined the bias of Judge Stephen T. O'Neill, and they go on to say pretty much that the judge was made aware of that a lot of the witnesses or a few witnesses were tainted in this particular case, but they never took the time to actually look into it. It's kind of like they're saying that it was a setup and they wanted to see Mr. Cosby in jail. SamAnt, are you surprised by this news that came down today?
Hell no. I'm not surprised about anything you just said. I'm not surprised about his legal team saying that there's a bias and the judge was biased against the situation and they were out to get him. I believe all that. And I believe that they don't care. And this is why we see appeals never. Well, what's the percentage of appeals being successful? Slim, under 5%. I'll give it under 5%.
Probably.
I don't ever see them being successful. So not surprising. We knew that was a move the defense, was going to have to make him Mr. Cosby's defense and in his representation, but not surprising that it was denied and that he'll be sitting behind bars. They got him exactly where they wanted him, and he'll be there until they decide to put him out. Tell
me what you think though about what the lawyer allegedly said. This was juror number 11. This is from Bill Cosby's camp. This is what they're saying that the one of the jurors said. He said, Mr. Cosby, and I quote, is guilty. Let's not waste time, a lot of time, to find him guilty.
It's biased.
That? Yeah.
And he's not supposed, he or she, I don't know what the juror was, is not supposed to be there because you're not properly looking at evidence. You're not properly looking at something. You base judgment on a man based off of your personal feeling. And now you're casting judgment on this man that could put him behind bars. Supposed to be out of there, but they weren't. Surprise, surprise.
It's no secret, man, that the judicial system, especially for African Americans, is going to be fair. You can't really look at it to be fair. And I think it's a travesty that, for one, that you have judges that are biased, but two, the jurors, you know what I mean? Like, you want to be able to go into this situation knowing that you got your peers, people that can understand the situation and look at the evidence, and not people who are going to be biased. If a judge is sitting over somebody and they see that, they should immediately get rid of that person. But the fix could be in with that whole situation, man. So I'm not going to sit up here and act like, because we even seen, we just got finished sitting through a fairly large federal trial. We seen how to judge some of the things that they were doing that it definitely wasn't fair. And they would look like they just wanted to get it over with, like the statement said, and find them guilty.
Dog, could you imagine like the judge and the prosecution or this or that just sitting outside of the court, having drinks, chilling, and just being personal favors, just being done on your life? That's what happens.
Yeah.
That's what goes on. They don't care about fairness. They don't care about the law being just. They don't care about any of that. It's okay. What are we going to do? We're going to set this up to make this, that, and cool. If they have enough evidence to beat it, cool. But if we want this done, we're going to do it. And we treat lives like it's a monopoly piece. And it's fucked up. And we've seen what they've done to us over and over and over again. That's why people were so happy OJ got off. I couldn't help but to think of OJ when you talk about the jurors, because a lot of them jurors in there were like, nah, he ain't do it. You know how many times these cops came in here and raided my house or did this or pulled me over unjustly? Nah, they did that to OJ. And Cochran did a masterful job at that. So you could sway the minds, and it doesn't matter. It's really hard to persuade or have somebody walk in there with a straightforward line, unbiased, neutral, right down the line.
Yeah.
Somebody, like you said, you want to see people in the jury that's going to relate to you. Why? Because 9 times out of 10, they I'm like, nah, he didn't do it. Man, you had conversations behind the scenes. Thank God me and you ever ain't sit on the jury stand. Because if I look at somebody that look like me, they must have did some terrible shit, some babies or something like that, because you missed me with some drugs.
That's why I think that they use the process of elimination to try to weed out people. Like, you would never got picked for the ARL trial.
No.
You know what I mean? He just wanted to pick you ain't seen nobody that look like us on there. That was crazy.
Nah, at all. They look like Marlton school teachers. It was kind of scary.
Man, and then when people you thought that maybe will have his back, it's like everybody said guilty. Crazy.
Yeah. And it didn't take them long. They ain't playing fair.
Yeah, definitely. But you're tuned into the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast with your brother, Old God and Sam, man. This is episode 277 of the podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, hit that 5-star rating and do not forget to subscribe to the podcast. You can get all future episodes. Now, Matthew knows SamAnt was on Vlad TV once again, and he dropped a bombshell about Jagged Edge and Beyonce and Destiny's Child.
Yeah, Matthew knows, father of Beyonce, and what's Beyonce's sister's name?
Solange.
Yeah, Solange knows. I'm sorry about that. Solange, beautiful Solange. He was the manager, obviously, of Destiny's Child, and he managed a couple other people. They were on tour with Jagged Edge. They were on the same bus, and here's what he said. He admitted that it was a poor decision he made when he put both groups on the bus. He quoted, "Now remember, these girls are minors. They are 16 years old. These guys are 21, 22 years old. I got a call from Kelly and Beyonce, and I talked about it in the book in detail, saying that they were constantly being harassed by two other members of Jagged Edge. I couldn't have that. I kicked them men off the bus at the next tour stop." Now, Jagged Edge obviously had the twins, Brian and Brandon Casey, Richard Wingo, and crazy-ass Kyle Norman. But Matthew did not name any of the culprits. Now, Beyonce, Kelly, nor Jagged Edge have had anything to say in regards to these allegations. Oh, God, like he said, 21 to 22-year-old males trying to get at 16-year-old females on a tour bus. What do you think about that?
R. Kelly type stuff there or something. But
the 90s.
Yeah, that's I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by hearing this. Obviously, it's something that was made by him. It's alleged from our stand. We weren't there, but this is something that Matthew knows, put on the record on Vlad TV, and he said it for a reason. But I'm not surprised by that. I mean, we all grew up and seen. I went to high school and we seen the chick, that she was walking around or whatever, and you was cool with her in school, but when she left, her boyfriend was 35 years old or 24, at least 24, 25 years old, and these girls was dealing with him like, and they ain't really want to deal with nobody, that age. So I'm not saying that is right. I'm saying that I'm not surprised by this, and I think a lot of that goes on, in the music industry, male, female, all that type crazy stuff goes on in the music industry.
Yeah, man. I remember in high school, in our senior prom, homegirl, 17, she pulled up with a yellow BMW, dude, 35, 36 years old. Crazy. Real talk. I'm like, oh, this is wild. But it happened. I'm not, I don't condone it. I'm not going to sit back and say that Jagged Edge needs to be canceled at this point or anything like that. It was something that happened. 21, 22 is still very young, very dumb. We were talking about if we had money or the resources that a lot of these young, successful kids have today, the damage we would have done.
But not no shit like that, though.
Never.
It's great. Allegedly, if they did that, because, to their credit, they haven't spoke out. And I don't expect to hear them probably, they should. Somebody should make a statement. Somebody says something like that about you. But, yeah, that's crazy. Like, to be I don't know, man. Like 22 though. Once you get over like into that, I can see if you in high school, it could be like, it's like 14 to 18. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you might see a junior with a sophomore or junior, sometimes even with a freshman. I know I went to fuck a couple juniors. In fact. You know what I mean? And seniors and shit. But once you get in your 20s and shit, you trying to go down and fuck with high school, I think that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm in 21, 22. I'm invading the clubs. And I'm just I'm a club rat. And at 16, 17, I was looking to be victimized by an older woman. I'm like, look, who's taking applications for the young boys? I'm signing up. Never had any kind of luck like that. But I was never one of them older kids looking for younger. I was always looking for the older ones.
Well, apparently, according to Matthew Knows, Jagged Edge was, and that story's out there now circulating. And
selling a book.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Jagged Edge would definitely speak out. Now let's just say hypothetically, what do you think that Jagged Edge should do? Do you think they should leave some type of statement and say that it's true, or you think silence is the best policy here?
Silence is the best policy. I mean, no disrespect to Jagged Edge. I'm sure they're out touring right now and doing their thing, but no one's really checking.